Why do some people seek out quietude and solitude while others thrive in noisy crowds and constant social buzz? In this video, we unpack the psychology of people who seek quietude, revealing the personality traits, emotional patterns, and mental frameworks that shape this preference. We'll dive into why silence isn't just a choice, it's a necessity for recharging, reflecting, and maintaining mental balance in a world that often demands the opposite. Introversion is a core personality trait where individuals prefer low-stimulation environments, often seeking quietude to recharge rather than socialize. It's not shyness, but a fundamental way of processing the world. Research in personality psychology, such as the Big Five model, shows introverts score high on traits like conscientiousness and low on extroversion, with studies from Carl Jung's theories emphasizing internal energy sources. Modern research, including fMRI scans, indicates introverts have more active frontal lobes during rest, making quiet spaces ideal for equilibrium. In real life, this manifests as choosing a quiet evening read over a lively party, or working in a hushed office corner to boost productivity. You might notice these people excusing themselves early from gatherings or opting for solo walks in nature. Emotionally, their brains are wired to avoid overstimulation. Too much noise or interaction spikes cortisol, leading to fatigue. Cognitively, quietude allows for richer internal dialogue and problem-solving without distractions. If you've ever felt drained after a short conversation and yearned for a silent room to regroup, this is introversion at play, your mind's way of preserving energy. People who seek quietude often do so to manage emotional patterns of overwhelm, where external stimuli flood their senses, triggering anxiety or emotional exhaustion. Quietude acts as a buffer, allowing emotional reset. Psychology shows this ties to attachment theory by John Bowlby, where secure individuals use solitude for self-soothing, and research on highly sensitive persons, HSP, by Elaine Aron suggests 15 to 20% of people process emotions more deeply, making quiet essential for regulation. Behaviorally, it appears as withdrawing to a calm space after a stressful day, journaling in silence, or avoiding high-energy events to prevent emotional burnout. They might cancel plans not out of disinterest, but to protect their inner peace. The mind works this way because constant input amplifies negative emotions like anxiety. Quietude lowers arousal, fostering mindfulness and emotional clarity through reduced amygdala activity. If you've ever felt your heart race in a crowded room and craved a quiet corner to breathe deeply, this emotional pattern explains why. It's your psyche's strategy for maintaining stability. Cognitive styles favoring deep, uninterrupted thinking drive many to seek quietude, as noise disrupts complex mental processes like analysis and creativity. These individuals thrive on focused introspection rather than multitasking. Research from cognitive psychology, including Csikszentmihalyi's flow theory, indicates that quiet environments enhance immersion, with studies showing distractions reduce working memory by up to 20%. The MBTI framework links this to intuitive thinking types who prefer solitary ideation. In daily life, this shows up as preferring quiet libraries for work, turning off notifications during tasks, or brainstorming alone before group input. They produce higher quality ideas in silence, avoiding the cognitive load of chatter. Cognitively, the brain's default mode network activates in quiet, enabling wandering thoughts that spark innovation. Overstimulation shifts to survival mode, hindering deep processing. If you've ever solved a tough problem during a silent walk or felt your thoughts scatter in a noisy cafe, this cognitive style is why quietude feels like fuel for your mind. Social dynamics play a key role, as cultural expectations often label quietude seekers as aloof, pushing them to conform to extroverted norms like constant networking or group activities. Social identity theory by Henry Teifel explains how group pressures create stigma around solitude, with research suggesting Western cultures value extroversion more, leading to feelings of otherness. Studies on conformity, like Ash's experiments, show how societal norms influence behavior. This manifests as feeling judged for declining invitations or forcing participation in social events only to feel inauthentic and exhausted afterward. Quietude becomes a rebellion against performative socializing. Emotionally, it stems from a need for authentic connections over superficial ones. The mind resists energy-draining dynamics, prioritizing meaningful interactions. If you've ever skipped a social event and felt guilty yet relieved, this highlights how social pressures clash with your preference. It's not rejection, but a bid for genuine self-expression. Childhood experiences often shape a preference for quietude, with early environments influencing how we handle stimulation and solitude. Traumatic or chaotic upbringings may heighten the need for peaceful retreats. Attachment theory research indicates insecure attachments lead to self-reliance in quiet spaces, while studies on highly sensitive persons, HSP, show higher sensitivity to noise in adulthood. Longitudinal data from child psychology links overstimulating homes to adult introversion. Behaviorally, someone raised in a loud household might seek silent hobbies like reading, or avoid recreating that chaos in their own life by choosing calm partners and routines. Cognitively, the developing brain adopts by associating quiet with safety, wiring neural pathways for comfort in low stimulation settings. If you've ever traced your love for quiet back to escaping family arguments into a hidden spot as a kid, these developmental factors reveal why. It's a learned sanctuary for your mind. Biologically, seeking quietude often stems from heightened sensory processing, where the nervous system is more reactive to stimuli like sound or light. Neuroscience research, including sensory processing sensitivity studies, shows genetic variations in serotonin transporters make some brains more alert, with dopamine systems rewarding low stimulation states. fMRI evidence reveals greater activity in sensory cortices for these individuals. In practice, this means earplugs in busy areas, dim lighting at home, or choosing rural living to minimize input. They experience sounds as physically intrusive, leading to quick fatigue. The brain explains this through higher baseline arousal levels, per Ising's theory. Quietude prevents overload, balancing neurotransmitters for optimal function. If you've ever winced at background music others ignore or needed total silence to sleep, this biological wiring is at work. Your neurology demands quiet to thrive. Quietude is healthy when it rejuvenates, but crosses into isolation when it avoids all connection, potentially signaling depression or social anxiety disorder. Psychology distinguishes via diagnostic criteria like DSM-5, where healthy solitude enhances well-being, but research on loneliness epidemics shows excessive avoidance harms mental health, increasing risks like inflammation. Behaviorally, healthy seekers balance with selective socializing, while isolators withdraw completely, missing out on support. Emotionally, healthy quietude brings peace. Problematic isolation breeds emptiness, as the mind needs some interaction for oxytocin release. If you've ever wondered if your quiet time is self-care or escape, assess if it leaves you refreshed or lonely. This line keeps your preference beneficial. If you've ever felt misunderstood for choosing quiet over chaos or questioned if something's wrong with you, these insights show it's not a flaw, it's a valid psychological pattern wired into your personality and brain.